out of OBS at all. It was working before. This is really stupid.
Let's see, you guys hearing anything right now?
You didn't copy your audio sources across the channels, did you?
No.
Darn it.
I can hear it in the stream now.
I think it's just, I gotta do one adjustment here. Okay, you guys should be able to hear now, I hope. Let's see how things are going.
Yeah. Alright, yeah, I can hear us on the stream. Cool.
Awesome.
Okay, sorry about that, folks. Welcome to the EDMP Production Challenge stream again.
Yeah, we'll try that again. Oh, hey there, GLTY. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing, Stasys?
Doing fantastic. Doing fantastic. We were talking about the challenge and how this month was, or January was, reverb and delay, and how we're stoked to listen to some people's music and what they completed in January.
Yeah, we have a pretty decent amount of submissions, so good job, guys.
This is the listening party, Sunny the Skies. We're gonna do the listening party, and then we're gonna dive into a little bit of production stuff. But yeah, I mean, should we just dive into it, GLTY? Who do we have up first?
Yeah, okay, so the first submission we have is from Jared Ross. The song is called Shape the Future, and so we required everybody kind of give us a little bit of a description for what they did that qualifies as part of the challenge. So he wrote, the main pad is drenched in delay and reverb is used on almost all of the samples and synths. So sounds like it should be pretty apparent what he did.
Cool.
Go ahead and fire that one up.
I'll get it going here. And then chat, if you guys can't hear anything for any reason, let us know.
Wow. Good stuff, Jared. That was actually a really beautiful song. It's pretty clear to hear where you use the reverb and the delay. It was really atmospheric. So man, that's a great way to kick off the stream, honestly. Um, Corn, are you here? Stasis, you here?
Maybe I muted myself. Yep, I
There
did.
you go. There we go. I can hear you.
No,
Yeah,
that was definitely a great way to start things off. It definitely was a vibe, like people are saying in the chat. Like it was really, really nice. That I felt like the effects that you put on for that reverb delay really created like an atmospheric quality to it, which was just very very nice. Yeah, it wouldn't be a stream without a self mute. That is totally right. Um, yeah, I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah,
Very well done.
That was beautiful. All right, so next up, we've got a song called "Make Me Stay" and I apologize if I butcher anybody's artist names, but it looks like it's Casanopius.
Or Casanopius. I don't know. I love it though. It's a sweet
Casanopius.
name.
Yeah, I apologize in advance again if I get any of this wrong. Go ahead and correct me in chat. All right, so again, it's called "Make Me Stay," and the way that they used reverb was they put automation on the vocals to make them scream out of the mix. So
Awesome.
let's go ahead and jump into that one.
I'm gonna try. Were you saying the SoundCloud links didn't work as well? We should be doing all MP3.
Yeah, some of them weren't private links, so they don't load. So it's probably easier just to use the
All right, I'll just do the
Google
MP3s.
Drive links.
Also, chat if it's clipping at all, let me know. I loved it. What do you think,
Yeah, that
GLTY?
last part was killer. The kind of like breakdown with the piano and the vocal chops there with the make me stay repeating. That part was awesome.
I
Yeah,
was a
no, great track.
I was a little distracted because my dog attacked my microphone during the track.
Yeah, I
But
mean, it sounds like the tune is still a little bit under construction. It's got good songwriting. It's got a really good energy. Like I said, I really like that the breakdown, quiet part at the end. It's got a nice progression to it. I could definitely hear the delay. The reverb was a little light. If I would make any suggestions, I would probably make the reverb a little bit more wet on the vocals so that they carry a little bit more. But other than that, great track.
awesome. Awesome. Well done, Casanopius, or however you pronounce it.
All right.
Let's go on to the next. What do we got?
Let's keep it going. So looks like we got Austin. The track
Or
is
is it
called
Ocassion?
Like a Drug. Ocassion. I mean, it looks like his Discord ID is just with a regular S, so I'm gonna go with Osin.
Probably just Osin then, yeah.
All right. So their submission says reverb was an essential part of my mix. I used reverse reverb effect at the beginning of the vocals, which I learned from a Kara short video. Although I didn't use any delay plugin, the effect might still be there because of the vocals I got from Splice. Okay, so it sounds like there's going to be kind of like a reverb throw going on.
Okay.
Which I think would sound kind of cool in that last track we listened to. If used correctly, I think it would really add to the atmosphere and kind of help carry things. So yeah, I'm excited to hear this. Let's jump into it.
Osin like a drug.
If it ain't a plan for two, cause there ain't nobody, no, ain't nobody quite as good. Think that you're the one I want, but I know that I shouldn't care about love. But you're like a drug. Yeah, when I'm with you, I'm fine. When you're in my veins, I don't feel no pain. Yeah, when I'm with you, I'm fine. When you're in my veins, I don't feel no pain. Yeah, when I'm with you, I'm fine. Feel no pain.
Wow, that was massive. Loved it.
Yeah, that was a big one. Yeah, the reverb in the build up and the breakdown parts with the more musical melodic elements, that was great. The vocals sat really well in the mix. Yeah, I like that little 4-bar turnaround right there, the second drop to kind of throw people off. As a DJ, that's not my favorite thing, but musically, I think it's cool. It has a really dramatic effect. No, that's good stuff.
Yeah, I liked that the reverb and delay became more ethereal the higher up the frequency was. So there was good use of like the mids having a moderate amount of delay and reverb, but then up higher, like he really created that atmospheric quality in the high end, which I think is like one of the best things in my opinion. It's just so pleasing to the ear to have that kind of scaled reverb from the high end to the low end. Really nice.
The way it started off with that big pluck with the verb on it was nice.
So good. It instantly drew me in. Great track, man. Yep. Great track. Who do we got next, GLTY?
Alright, so up next is Elemental, and the song is called Don't Let Go. And so the description they gave us is, I've been watching videos on YouTube about making my music pop out a bit more and utilizing delay and reverb. Not too specific on where it's used, but let's see if we can't hear it for ourselves.
All right. For those of you that are just joining us, this is the monthly production challenge. We got GLTY on the stream. Oh, I guess you'd be this way. GLTY on the stream with us. And me and GLTY are hosting this for the year, and we're super excited and have you guys here. And let's keep going here with Elemental's Don't Let Go.
Feel you beside me when I close
Awesome work. I loved that.
Yeah, that's really good.
That was really
The-
nice, Elemental.
Vocal processing, great job there. The
Mhm.
reverbs, the delay at the end of the phrases and stuff. That like kind of swelled the reverb right before that second drop that kind of faked everybody out. That made it sound like it was going to be the end. It was
Very
good stuff.
nice. I liked the delay on the hi-hat. It had like kind of like it was just such this little subtle thing, but it had like this uniqueness to it that I thought was really appealing. Because you don't hear that very often. So man, it was really fun. Those creative uses and like the traditional strategic uses of delay and reverb going on there.
I
Really
also
cool.
thought that the reverb decay time on the pluck was perfectly timed. It faded out. It's just a small little detail, but it was like spot on. Okay, up next we've got Schlep, and the song is called "I Can't Stay in My Room Anymore." And the description we have here is: there's a lot of delay going into the sound design, stereo slaps and granular delay vocoder synthesis, lots of moving echo and dub echo, as well as general use of delay. Most sounds in the mix in general are soaked in reverb with only foreground elements poking through here and there. The drums are lightly vocoded against the bass reverb bus to blend the 130 to 200 hertz range. Yep, let's get into it.
Cool. Schleps. I can't stay in my room anymore. And I may need to let my dog out while this is playing. Here we go. That ending. Oh, I loved that.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it was awesome, Schlep.
Yeah, that was a whole vibe. I love the
Mhm.
ear candy, the verb on that. It just made the entire track, honestly, all the little like clicks and like the sounded kind of like a soda pop opening or like a lighter clicking in the intro. That was great.
Very, very nice. And I'm a huge, I mean, I love Reese's and I love Reese's. So, yeah, you got me sold. That was a great track, man. Fantastic. Really, really liked what you did. Let's see.
Cool stuff. All right. Let's see. Up next, we've got Sunix with a track called Reborn. And the description they gave us is, I recorded this track live and have created an effect rack with delays, flangers, shimmers, and reverb, and in certain sections while it's recording, I learned about manipulating flanger amount and flanger delay to create trippy/glitchy sounds that pan in different directions. Especially when certain synth lines or guitar sections are playing, I felt that it adds a new dimension to the sounds. Cool, so he's got his own, or they have their own effect rack with a bunch of different effects on it, so let's hear that.
Awesome. Reborn. And I loved the blending on that.
That was great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Gotta love the delay on the ARP, and those guitar parts really gave a nice atmosphere.
Yeah, the delay on the pluck as well. On the synth pluck throughout most of the song was, I thought, really well done. Really sat well with the rest of the mix. And the high-end shimmers that you did have were really, really fun, too. A lot of ear candy that you had effects on that I thought were really well done.
Yeah, great job. Especially if you recorded that live, and then, yeah, the outcome, good stuff.
Really, really cool.
Alright, so next up we've got Lounge King with a track called Echo Wave. And their description is, I use the reverb effect to make it seem like there are echoes, and I use delay for breaks between the two sections, and to let the reverb effects play out. So, yeah, here we go. Let's jump into it.
All right, Echo Wave. All right, well, first time using, is it the first time using, oh, not first time using Reverb, but
LMMS, I'm not sure what that is.
I'm so curious now.
This is an interesting idea. I would say that if you want to carry those sections together, it'll probably be a little bit heavier on the reverb. You could do kind of like a reverb throw where, it's an open source DAW. Okay. So what I would do in those areas of silence is put on like a verb throw and automate the gain on it so that it kind of like swoops back up into the next section, right? So that there isn't that break. I'm just assuming that this is intended to be, like one idea and not separate ideas. So if that's the case, then yeah, I would do something to fill that space. And reverb throws are great for that kind of thing. They also kind of carry the listener and like train your ears to expect something to happen, right? Because it's kind of like a riser in a sense, but it's basically just turning kind of like one of your elements into like a big spacey riser over like a short period of time. But good stuff. You can definitely hear the delay on the drums. So
yeah,
cool.
Definitely did the assignment. The other feedback I'd have for you, since you were asking for feedback, always use a limiter on, so that you're not like clipping a lot over that your volume isn't going too high over the threshold there, so that it's not gonna like hurt anyone's ears or anything like that. That's the first song I had to turn down on this stream, just because it was really, 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 really loud. So there's some things you can do there. I really did like how you, because like that's the kind of, I mean, it sounds like you were going for like a video game type soundtrack, which I love that stuff. and there's definitely some cool ideas that you have in there. I think it just takes a little bit more practice and a little bit more refining to get it to where you'd like it to be. But excellent work, man. Great work.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we've got I don't know, is this Jadders or Jaders? I see you're in the chat. You want to?
Yeah, you're gonna have to tell
correct
us.
me? Do you pronounce it Jadders?
Jad Rez.
Jadrez?
Jed. I don't know. Let's see here.
Jaders?
Jaders.
Okay, Jaders.
Nice.
Got it. Cool. Alright, so Jaders track Astral, and this is the description that was submitted. Reverb and delay both play a pretty big role in my drops. I vocoded a section of a sound design jam of mine and processed it with hysteresis. It's a great delay that comes with a cool effect, and most importantly, a random button and Valhalla Room. This filled the mix perfectly, and as someone said, it made everything feel wet along with the Foley hits. These two effects come in handy when trying to get that wide and liquidy texture that I really love. And this can be heard in the second break when the more rhythmic section hits. P.S. The track's chord progression got people confused in the feedback stream. However, I decided to keep it as I honestly really like how it sounds. I did follow Calix's suggestion, though, to end the track with simpler chords as a good release technique. Cool. Alright, so this is Astral by Jaders.
Yes, and I do want to throw in really quick before we start that I've really liked how a lot of people have added so much space on their drops from some of the songs we've listened to, and then also use the contrast to like bring it back during some breakdowns and stuff. I thought that's been a really fun technique to listen to. Like his final note here. Hope you guys enjoy the spicy track. The spicy track. It's great. Astral. Wow, dude, that's a trip. I love it. I love it. I love there's I don't remember the name of the style, or even if it has a name, but there's a jazz style where over the course of 12 bars you change the progression to each of the 12 semitones, and it's always like a different you're hitting every single note basically, and I freaking love it. It's great.
Yeah, that was a really well written track. I love the use of reverb and delay there, especially on those like little kind of like shimmering effects. So I thought, yeah, that is great.
It was a lot of wide or like depth and width that was added on the drop sounds, which I really liked as well. I mean, it added a ton of feeling to it that otherwise wouldn't be there. It's like the whole point of reverb and delay, I guess, but it was really well done.
Yeah, that's really good stuff. Alright, so next up we've got Pentylene with a track called Give Me More. And the description is, I use lots of delay to help bleed transitions and fill the background.
Cool. Here we go.
Fucked up for me, tell me you're stuck. If you wanna get drunk, baby, look at your luck. Take another round, you be feeling so lonely. Wishing you could hold me, girl. Don't look down, if you take a look around, I can show you how. If you don't hit the ground, figure it out. But I need your help, girl. Work on yourself, girl. But I can't help you if you're all so high. When you look at me with that broken smile,
dang, that second drop. Holy cow, I loved it. That hit me. Smacked me across the face.
I love the vocals too.
Yeah.
That was,
again, a lot of width and space and like melding together things through the use of that reverb and delay. And like I love hearing a mix that I feel like everything sounds like it belongs in the space that it's in. You know, like you can tell when you listen to something sometimes, or at least I don't know about you, GLTY, but it's like sometimes I'll hear a song that's from a newer producer and like the snare will be very dry, and then they'll have some synth that's like really wet, and it just feels like there's such a contrast. It doesn't feel like it's from the same room, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so many people have done such an excellent job on that today. I'm like really impressed, you guys. Really, really well done.
Yeah, I'm actually really impressed with the level of quality that we've gotten in these submissions. So good job to everybody so far.
Yeah, most excellent.
Up next, we've got Grades with a track called Lovely Day. And the description we have is, the goal behind this track was to utilize reverb and delay for a euphoric atmosphere with long tails on instruments to create lush soundscapes, as well as to give a sense of distance and space. I used short delay and reverb to give the vocals a distant and unique sound, while creating a longer, lusher effect to make the vocals almost another instrument in certain sections. Cool. That's a really succinct description, so let's get into it.
Love it. Lovely Day.
Fall down, it's a lovely day. Your eyes now, see the words you're saying. You look down, touch my hand and say it's alright. We're alone today. If we could always see the same, which way? We're all leaving.
loved that too, man. So many good songs today.
Yeah, that was great. The vocal processing was incredible on that. So nice work. You really did nail your intent there. So
I loved the reverb on the impacts. So
yeah,
like that really
yeah, it kind
really
of sounded
really
like a wave.
spacious. Yeah, yeah. And it definitely created like that. It's not usual that an EDM song will make me feel like a certain mood or vibe in particular, besides just like hype or like, oh, this is really cool. But that like definitely had some water elements speaking to me there. Like it was very smooth and very like luscious. I think that was just like a really really, like if you were going for a certain vibe, like you totally nailed it, 100%.
Yeah, yeah, definitely the the vocals definitely sounded like their own instrument in that one part where they were kind of like repeating. So
Mm-hmm.
you wrote in the description that that was your intention, and yeah, you nailed it. So great job on that one. Next up, we've got Violet Garden with a track called Hidden Love. And the description we have is I considered it in how I constructed my vocals, using multiple layers of the same track with various levels of mix and room size. On top of that, I love using dotted eighth note delays on vocals and a few instruments. So it sounds like we've got multiple layers of reverb on different tracks for the vocals. So yeah, let's jump into it.
Cool. This one's a SoundCloud link. Give me a sec here, make sure this works. Looks like we got it. on the reverb and delay on the vocals. I thought it was really good, really well processed vocals.
Yeah, I agree. Really cool song too.
Yeah, definitely unique. Had some of that '80s appeal, which I really like. And on the breakdown, or not the breakdown, I guess kind of it would be the drop ish. But they had really good use of reverb and delay there as well. I thought the synths were really the bass was maybe a little too heavy for my liking on the reverb, or the lower end had a little more reverb on it, but the mid and top end ranges were really cool. So well done.
I would say something to consider with your vocals when you're layering multiple tracks of it, just to be conscious of the volume level on some of those tracks. They were a little bit loud in the mix, but that also might just be kind of a creative decision on your part. I'm not sure, but in general, be wary of that when you're stacking to make sure everything is set gain stage properly. Okay, so next up we've got EMK with a track called Smoke Rings, and they said pretty much every track other than the bass and drums uses some form of delay. I used echoes to turn guitar samples and organ hits into swirling pads, and delay on the leads to add complexity to the melodic content.
All right, very cool. EMK Smoke Rings.
pop vibes there.
Yeah, that was
funky.
great. Real funky.
Yeah, great use of reverb and delay. It's present throughout the entire track.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think anybody needs any explanation there. Really good stuff. Really great atmosphere. I like the space that it created for the vibe. So good job.
That was well done. Well done.
All right. Up next, we've got Sunny Skies with The Rain Won't Stop. And the description for this is, I created the initial chords with reverse reverb and delay, and later included reverb on the main gritty bass to try and get a fading tail on the sound. I incorporated a lot of stereo elements as well as automation clips, which I also wanted to get better with. The current result is something I'm very proud of. I'm not particularly skilled with this style of music, and this is definitely not finished. It's at a good stopping point, but I think there's so much more to be done with this song. Cool. So this is a work in progress. It sounds like it's not the most updated version from what I see in the chat. That's okay. Yeah.
Tisk, Sunny Skies. This is a challenge to complete your song, but we'll listen to it anyways. One time exception. One time. I'm just kidding. We're glad you submitted it.
Yeah.
Rain won't stop. And there's three things that always get me. It's Reese's, arpeggios, and strings. I love strings in EDM. And I
Yeah.
commend you for using them. And you did
Yeah, that's
great.
beautiful.
Fantastic work.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing the finished version. I like how you kind of switched up your drum patterns. Like in the beginning, in the intro, you kind of had that kind of like autonomic feel to it, and then like the more traditional drum and bass breaks, and then it kind of went into kind of like a heavier drum steppy pattern for a bit. So great writing. The atmosphere with the reverb and delay is spot on.
It's very cool.
All right, so next up we've got CTROS or CTROS. Not sure. Are they in the
CTROS sounds
chat?
right.
Are they here? CTROS, yeah. Okay. With a track called Dub. The description for this one is I put reverb on a lot of parts of this track to make it feel open, so when listening you have a good experience, and the fast feeling makes it way better. The reverb was also a standpoint in the track for a deep feeling.
Cool.
Alright, so
Let's give it a listen. Dub. Wow, that was a trip. Not a ton of like techno and trance songs that I'd want to listen to again, to be honest. But that was awesome. I would totally put that on a playlist. Great.
Yeah, nice atmosphere. The delay on those kind of like swoopy impacts really added a lot to the vibe.
Both you use them effectively both in building and in bringing it back down, which I thought was really cool. It's usually just like one direction from a lot of producers. It seems like they just like can use it in one way. I don't know if there's a better way to describe that. It makes sense in my head. But
yeah. All right. So up last for the submissions, we've got Vibase with Dirty Work. And the description is, I used a Convolver reverb for the first time to get a really realistic reverb. I also used reverse reverb for all the risers throughout the song.
Nice.
I used delay as a sound design tool. If you set a really fast delay, it makes the instrument sound very metallic. I used that on the second lead in the song.
Very cool.
So.
Yeah, let's dive into this song, and then we'll jump into a little bit of a production review and get things going there. Dirty Work. was intense.
That was complex. It reminds me of like old Freddie Todd, where it's just kind of like moving through different sections that all sound different, but also kind of cohesive, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that was good. It's good stuff.
I would have loved to have like heard it with a little more clarity on, because I did like I could make out that metallic delay thing he was talking about. I would have loved to have been able to hear it a little more through, because it was so crunched. But
Yeah.
it was like I could hear that metallic delay thing you're talking about, and that is a really cool way to use that to get that
Yeah.
that tang sound into it.
Definitely, I would bring some of the bass elements down a bit because they were really heavy, kind of drowning out some of the other stuff, so you're not going to hear the reverb. I did notice the reverse verb throws though, so those stuck out. But yeah, definitely kind of the bass was really loud in the mix. So if you want to highlight more of the delay and the reverb, I would kind of balance those out a little bit more. Okay, so
You've got a submission.
Yeah, so I've got a last minute submission. This is the opening track from my EP that's coming out in the next month or so. I actually use reverb and delay quite a bit. So in the intro, there's kind of like these sweeps that I use delay on, and then during the build up, the ARP and the melody, I have the delay and the reverb kind of increase so that it's just this really like chaotic wall of noise before the drop. And then on the vocals, I do a lot of reverb throws to kind of like carry it over, and you can hear those pretty clearly. And then I like to open up a verb on some of my like single, like one-shot womps, because it gives you this kind of like big splash of space and then sucks back in. So yeah, it's called The Journey Begins.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to hearing it. Here we go.
World premiere.
World premiere. That was excellent. That is definitely, dude, I love that. I loved that. Really
Yeah,
cool
so you can
sounds.
hear kind of what I was doing with the reverb there, kind of like swooping up in there. I've got a little rack that I use, just the one knob that I automate. It's
Oh,
really
nice.
effective. A lot of dubstep producers that I really look up to do that kind of thing, so it's really great for space and just kind of like carrying a track. So
Dude,
yeah.
I loved it. And like the delay in there, like I thought that because a lot of times delay is kind of used as a volume additive or just to like give something more space, but you had like on the vocals, like it made it more of it made it a flavor as opposed to just like a adding dimension to the vocal, if that makes sense. I really enjoyed that track, man. That was awesome. So when is that EP coming out?
Probably March sometime. I'm still waiting to get my artwork back. So should get that back in the next week or so, and I should have a more firm release date.
Cool. I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of it. Way cool. Well, let's dive into this production review. It's not going to be anything too crazy. I'm going to go over a song that I put out this month called You're the Sky here. Or it's called You're the Sky, but we're going to go over it. So let me switch over to this. And one of the things that Nathaniel brought up that we should maybe talk about for a sec is the difference between a reverb and a delay. And I think one of the main things is that a delay is going to be giving you repeat signals that you can manipulate, but the reverb, a reverb is an emulation of the sound interacting off of different surfaces. So that's why you might see like a tube reverb or a pipe reverb or something like that, because it's like it's emulating shoving that sound through a pipe, whereas the delay is just sending that signal over and over again. GLTY, you have anything else to kind of add on the differences?
No, but I do have a useful little trick for people who want to time their delay and reverb. So if you Google a delay calculator, what you can do is enter in the BPM of the track, and then once you do that, it will tell you how long your reverb decays and stuff should be based on the note value. So those
Okay.
or that kind of thing can be really helpful for tightening up your verbs and your delays.
Yeah, I've never used anything like that before. That would be super helpful. Very, very cool. And also, what reverb and delay plugins do you like to use the most, would you say?
For me personally, for delay, I'm kind of partial to FabFilter Timeless. It's got a lot of different knobs and stuff you can twist and great filtering. And for delay, I like Valhalla Vintage Verb. Or honestly, even just the stock reverb plugin can be really powerful.
And you're on Ableton, is that right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I like the stock reverb delay as well. I use a lot of convolution reverb. The convolution reverb pro comes with the Ableton suite. Stock, I don't know if it comes with like the light versions, but it's pretty powerful. And Baby Comeback is it's free, fun delay that I use quite a bit. Pretty simple, straightforward. I'm not the smartest tool in the shed, so although some people would say I'm a tool, but I'm not sometimes simpler is better for me. Having just like a couple knobs to turn is a little better. So let's see here. So this song uses reverb and delay in a few different ways. A lot of it is centered around the vocals. I did want to talk about freezing on the Ableton stock plugin for reverb. As you can see, I've got freeze automated here. So on this snare, I know it says kick, but you can. One of the things I wanted to do is kind of hold out the snare a little bit more. can use that sometimes to just create like a good flow after, or something that's holding out a little bit longer if you're automating it in Ableton. Let's see here. I'll just play a little bit of the song here. We won't play the whole thing, but can everybody hear this? It looks like it's going out.
Yeah, we can hear it.
I was trying to run away to you, but I couldn't find your point of view. All the crazy things I tried to do, I guess dreams never do come true. You're a star up in my sky, make me wonder why, yeah, why I even try. 'Cause I'd give anything to be with you until I die. You were always out of reach, lying on the beach when my heart was under siege. Your life runs like a creek, always downhill with a kiss up on your cheek. How I wish we could be one, but I'm the earth and you're the sun. How I wish you could come down, but you're the sky and I'm the ground. But you're the sky and I'm the ground.
Alright, so that's kind of the gist of it. Some of the things that I was using reverb and delay on here for, obviously the freeze, like I was talking about. I use a lot of Serum, and Serum, honestly, sometimes I'll use the reverb and delay that are in Serum, but oftentimes what I'll do is copy because I like to have there be continuity and consistency across the sounds that are playing. So I'll oftentimes copy and paste the reverb onto multiple channels, and instead of putting it all through one bus, I'll like adjust the dry and wet on each channel individually. I don't know if that's the best way to do it. It's probably not, but that's just how I've kind of taken to doing it. Let's see here. The big thing I want to do is focus on the vocals a little bit. We can get down to them. So I don't know if you have a preference on this, but I usually put my delays before my reverbs. What about you, GLTY?
It's actually usually the opposite for me. Not for any particular reason.
It's just you like that sound better.
Yeah, I like to get the delay on the tail.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Well, I think for me, especially with the vocal, I like, at least in this song, and usually when I'm processing vocals, I like to have the delay followed by going through that sound filter, or through that like the copy of the copy of the signal that's coming through the delay, be shoved through that reverberation. And again, I think that's a really good good point to bring up. Is like, there's no right way to do any of this. I don't think there are some basic rules, but I don't think there's a the more I find out about audio production, and I'm still very much a novice, I would say, the more I find that there's just like no like correct way to do it. Just whatever sounds good to you. So in the vocals here, one of the first things that I have is this little guy. So that is a vocal take that I had 100%. I believe I had 100% turned up on reverb, and then I believe I reversed it, and flattened that track. Sorry, turned up the reverb 100% and the delay really high, and flattened the track so it was just that signal, and then took that snippet out and reversed it so that it was able to kind of just create this really ethereal, backwards, trippy kind of vocal sound, just as flavor. Because in the mix, I think that sounds awesome. And it's a good way to introduce the vocal before it comes in. I don't know if you do this, GLTY, but I almost always have the first, whatever the first vocal segment is, I'll take that, do that similar process of freezing the reverb and then reversing it into that vocal, so the vocal is never a surprise sonically. Do you do that?
Yeah, I do that with my synths and stuff too, so you don't get like a ear shock when it happens.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. I should probably start doing it with my synths a little more often. That's a really good idea, especially on drops and stuff, where you're not like deafening someone or mentally deafening them, I guess. Because it's gonna be the same volume either way. But yeah, that introduction I think is a big deal. Let's see here. And then on the vocal processing,
I was trying to run away to you, but I couldn't find your point of view.
So this is on a timed ping pong, so it's a dotted 1/8 note, and the feedback's turned down pretty low, to be honest, for the delay, just to give it a little bit more depth, a little bit more volume. Let me turn off the reverb.
I was trying to run away to you, but I couldn't find your point of view. All the crazy things I tried to do, I guess dreams never do come true.
Yeah, no, I wanted it to have more of that ethereal sound. I mean, this is a love track. I want it to be a little less in your face and a little more. I want the drops to be in your face, but I wanted the vocals to be more soothing, I guess. And that's why I have both of them at the level they're at. They'd probably be a little lower if I wanted the track to be a more in your face vocal mix down.
I was trying to run away to you, but I couldn't find your point of view. All the crazy things I tried to do, I guess dreams never do come true.
One of the other things I did that's basically another, I mean, this is a manual delay, I guess, was, excuse me. Oh, I think it's this track right here. Just freezing that one track, or taking that one sound that I wanted kind of repeated, and making it repeat on itself, and then automating the gain, or the okay, so I guess I didn't automate the gain on it. My bad.
But I couldn't find your point of view. All the crazy things I tried to do.
And obviously that's a different signal. I can't just I can't just do that off the original vocal because that is an octave or two up. So that's kind of the thought process there. Does anyone have like any questions or anything they want to dive into more on this? I feel like I'm just kind of talking to air here. But I can keep going. Nothing comes to mind. All right.
I just wanted to comment. I really like your track so far.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. I do like the second drop. I like the hard drop, so I'll have to play that in a second. But
yeah, I do kind of want to do a time check. We've been on stream for almost 2 hours now.
yeah.
I don't want to keep everybody too long, so
Well, why don't I
Do you
get?
have
I
any
mean, I talked about the
questions?
things that were the most important to me. I think in this song and how I use the reverb and delay. Besides like just the typical stuff. So that's probably good. I'll just play the rest of the track and then we can bounce for the day and call it.
Automation of reverb. Yeah, automating reverb is great. You can really, like I did in my track, you can kind of create this like quick blast of space, right? So the track opens up and then kind of like sucks you back in if you automate like the wet dry or the decay time on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always good. Um, and yeah, it's really useful because you can have like a really thick reverb on like the transient or the hit of whatever sample you're using that can kind of fade out over time with automation, right? Because if you keep the feedback too high, it'll drag on for way too long. So useful to automate that.
I don't know if I mean, when you say automating reverb, I think of like I did another track where the first drop was really spacious, and then I wanted the second drop to be more like right in front of you, and so the reverb and stuff was very different. But there are similar sounds. Are you talking about something more automating on in a quicker scenario than that?
Is that question for me or Sonny?
Yeah, for you, GLTY.
Yeah, usually just like the way that I guess the way I would describe it is I tend to automate things quicker, just so that I can have like a bigger reverb that sounds huge but doesn't actually like carry on for a long time, right? So it's like automating the decay over time or the wetness in quick intervals. Like I do that kind of stuff.
Do you ever do that as like a lead into a build or a drop? I mean, like
Uh,
bring the reverb like down, like the same way you would automate like the EQ down kind of thing for a drop.
Sometimes, yeah. I tend to rely more on filters for build-ups and stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
use the reverb pretty heavily in my drops though.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Cool. I think those are solid answers. Solid answers. Push the stuff to the background, but I get vocal to get say a vocal to do. Wait, what are you saying, Sonny? Also, I found that the reverb pushes stuff to the background, but to get it disappeared. Damn it. Sorry, I said a swear.
but to but to get say a vocal to take more space. He's just describing the process of
Oh,
of
gotcha.
the way that I use reverb.
Other channels. Okay, gotcha. It was super reverb version and dry version. I like that. Yeah, I think that's a good approach to it, to have kind of like a bus where you're sending things. Awesome.
Yeah,
Parallel
having
processing.
a reverb bus is great, so everything can sound like it's in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can get some weirdness if you use different delays or different types of delays.
Yeah, there can be some convolution. See that pun there? If you do different delays. All right, sorry, it's bad, but well, I'm gonna play the rest of this track. Drop some final questions or comments, and then we'll probably bounce after that.
I didn't think it could be like this. The moment we share a kiss, you got my mind overflowing with bliss. I guess you're impossible to resist. Your walls are coming down. Feels like my hometown. I'm spellbound. I kneel before my queen. Here's your crown. You were always out of reach, lying on the beach when my heart was under siege. Your life runs like a creek, always downhill with a kiss up on your cheek. How I wish we could be one, but I'm the earth and you're the sun. How I wish you could come down, but you're the sky and I'm
the sky and on the ground.
All right, everybody. Well, I think
Good stuff,
that's all we got for today. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for submitting your songs. Next month is the use of silence, or this month, February. So get those songs finished and submitted. And thank you, Sonny, for the compliment. And you guys are great. You guys are
Thanks,
great.
everybody.